What's up, everyone? This is Cheyenne B, and you are listening to 5D Marketing Secrets Radio. So here's the real mystery. How do real spiritual-based business owners like us grow a large following of our soulmate clients who are begging to pay us for our skills and gifts? How do we increase sales and make a contribution while also making a killer income? That is the blaring question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name is Cheyenne Burnett, and welcome to 5D Marketing Secrets Radio. Hey everybody, welcome back to 5D Marketing Secrets Radio. I'm your host, Cheyenne B, and in today's episode, we are mixing it up a little bit. We're sitting down with somebody who has her very own unique blend of spiritual healing tools that she is bringing to the world, and I love the input that she has given. So we're actually sitting down with Miss Devara ThunderBeat. She is a musician and a composer and an author and a pioneer in sound healing. So her name ThunderBeat was actually given to her by Native American elders for her abilities to heal and awaken through the power of sound. She's a multi-award winner, and she's traveled all across the world actually helping people through music. And she's been doing this for a very long time, and so she has a lot of insight on how to create your own unique blend of modalities and tools in spiritual healing, and how she's been able to successfully do this as a full-time career and travel the world and help people. So some amazing, amazing advice coming to you guys, and I'm definitely looking forward to your feedback on this one. Talk to you soon.
Well, thank you. Okay, how are you today?
Busy as usual, always doing something.
Right?
Yeah, creating.
I love that. Well, I really like these interviews to just be very much like a conversation. So it's just, if that's okay, I've already started recording, and so I want to get to know you and
Yeah,
understand who you are.
that's fine. That's the way I like it. Just
Perfect.
natural.
Right? Well, I told you that I was actually introduced to you by a good friend and a client of mine, Dr. Wendy Thorne, and she introduced me to you about a year ago. And since then, I've just kind of followed your different stuff. But it's such a unique art. So I'm really interested, and I'm sure I'm not the first one to have never heard of what you do before. So can you just explain to me exactly what you do?
Wow. Where do I begin? All right. Well, I've been a musician all my life since I was 11, and I'm actually a pioneer in sound healing. I started researching on my own how the keys affect you emotionally and physically. I had no understanding even it was called sound healing back then. So it's kind of like I was just fascinated by what each key emotionally would do. Like there's certain sad songs, and the sad songs are in D and E, the keys, and the higher the keys, the more like happy songs would be like recorded in. So it was like very fascinating. So then I really got serious about it, recording some CDs in the late 90s, actually. So
Okay.
I've been doing this a long time. Yeah.
Yes. I love
So
that.
I'm a sound healer. Yeah, I'm considered a sound healer, and I do other kinds of sessions, and always been spiritual. And I've taken psychic development classes, and I was actually number one in the class where the teacher. Oh my God, she's an incredible teacher. She gave me a first and second degree Reiki, and taught me about crystals and
Yeah.
all kinds of cool stuff. But she worked for, check this out, she was a psychic. She worked for the Michigan
Really?
police as a psychic detective for murder cases.
Wow.
And so she asked me to work with her on some of those cases, and I did. And I didn't realize I could do it so easily with
Really?
yeah, I just from her teachings, and it's called, one of her psychic development teachings is called psychometry, where you can look at a picture or even touch a picture or a piece of clothing from the person and get all kinds of visions.
I've seen or I've heard of that before. So they're like a piece of clothing of the victim, right? And then
Hmm.
she can communicate with their memories or their history. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, and you were doing that too.
Yeah, so that was like very early on, in the early 90s. Um, and what I want to say about that, I think everyone is psychic. It's just that we've not trained and taught.
Right?
And once I realized it, I said, this is easier than I even thought. We have it. It's just that we're not aware of it.
Yeah.
That's the key. And I'm just like, this should be taught in school.
Right. No, but really,
I'm serious.
me too. I'm with you 110%. That's awesome. Well, you said something that made me think of another question. So you've been a musician, you said, your whole life. You've been starting at 11. So this whole process of becoming a spiritual entrepreneur and pursuing this as really a life path and a career, was that something you always knew you would do, or was there a time in your life where you realized that that was really what you were supposed to be pursuing as a career too?
No, I was in rock bands for 27 years, so
What?
I didn't, yeah, which is,
That's
I don't,
awesome.
I know I didn't tell a lot of people that because
Yeah.
I didn't think they were going to take me seriously as a spiritual,
Right.
person and a sound healer. But now it's like, hey, this is cool. It's all good.
Yeah.
But 27 years I played in rock bands, had albums out. I was signed to A&M Records. I was, playing in New York City for many, many, many years. And um, so that's what I thought I was going to be doing. And I played full drum set with all guys, mostly guys,
Really?
in guy bands,
You're
and
so cool.
yeah, I was actually a pioneer. People would go, "Oh, girls don't play drums and all that," and it's like, "Hey, I love it. I tried every instrument. I took lessons in guitar, piano, and then when I discovered the drums, I was just like, "Oh my God, I love this."
Yeah.
So
Well, how
yeah,
interesting, because you went from that and that's part of a lot of what you do today is drum work, right?
yeah, I do a lot of tribal stuff now. I was in, like I said, rock bands before. Now I'm composing world music, like music from around the world, like Egyptian and Mayan and Native American, tribal, with didgeridoo, flutes, and drums. And it's really, kind of I've branched off into that area for the last 20 years, actually.
So
Yeah,
how are you able to do that transition? Because going from, I mean, obviously the skill was the same and your psychic ability was already involved and intact, but to actually in a career go from being a musician in a rock band to now I'm doing this as a form of healing. What was that transition like? That seems like you probably faced some different challenges with
yeah. It was very. Uh, Well, how it really happened was I connected with spirit. I have been very connected with spirit and um, getting messages from spirit, major messages. And what happened was the last bands I was in, two bands. The last two bands, rock bands I was in, they were constantly fighting and arguing, and it wasn't fun anymore. And I said, this is really becoming a drag. This is like
Yeah.
not even fun. And so I prayed. I actually prayed. I said, "What am I gonna do?" And Spirit came in. I always have this male thunder voice that comes in, and he goes, "Go solo." I said, "What?" I said, "How does a drummer go solo?" I argued with the spirit voice. And I said, and he goes, "Well, go solo now." And I'm like, "What? How do I do that?" And I'm thinking, at that time in the daytime, I was teaching drum lessons at this music store, Sam Ash Music, which is a really large store, chain store anyway in the United States. Um, and went into the recordings. It was a big store, so I went into the keyboard room, and I was talking to the guy there, and I said, well, maybe if I buy some keyboards, I can write my own music or whatever, and start doing that. And then I asked him about a recording studio, and he goes, oh my god, he goes, this just came out, like, we're talking this week. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? He goes, it will be a lot cheaper to do the computer program recording studio. And I'm like, really? And it came out that same week. I was, you know, searching to go solo from
Yeah.
the. It was like all went boom, boom, boom right into place. So I brought the keyboard, and I wrote and recorded my first song, and I went, oh my god, I didn't realize I could do this,
Yeah.
because I was always with rock bands, playing, writing songs with the other musicians, and they were playing the instruments, and I was always playing the drums. And I'm like, this, I can do it. I didn't realize it was that easy. So that's how it became. And I really wanted to take a different approach of music, very drum tribal oriented. And that's what I did. And started writing very tribal music, and my first solo tribal CD was Mayan Landing, and it won 2 Native American Music Awards.
What?
Woohoo! Yes,
Amazing. Now,
my
do you have,
first.
just for giggles, do you have Native American blood? Is that in your history?
Yeah, my
Okay, so
mom was
that's
Native. I'm half, actually.
really
Choc
okay.
Choctaw. Hmm.
Very cool. Very
Yeah,
cool. That's a big deal to have won those awards.
yeah. You have to be Native to win partially, at least
Yeah.
50%. So yeah, I won best new or world music and best new age music. They have a new age category.
Really?
So I did that, and then became there was some Mayan shamans that just discovered the album that I actually sent a copy to Jose Aguirrelas. He is a Mayan shaman that, if it wasn't for him, he wrote so many different Mayan books, and if it wasn't for him, like in the 70s, 80s, like I said, if it wasn't for him, who knows if we would have even known about the Mayans.
Right.
And we became very good friends, and he goes, oh my god, dude, this is like the real deal, when he commented, that was more than anything, commented on my music. And I said, so what I did, here's the secret for writing the music too, was I go to sacred sites. So I went to the Mayan lands, and when I got home, I immediately started writing the music.
Yeah.
So I really kind of downloaded the energy and the information, somehow just kind of got it, and went home and started writing this music, because it wasn't like anything I heard there. I didn't hear any music there. It
Yeah.
was if I did, it was more like flamenco Spanish music, which is not Mayan.
Right.
So so I wrote. That's how I started writing. I go to sacred sites,
Yeah.
and come home and start writing a CD, like the Egyptian CD. I won 3 major music awards for that. A LA Music Award,
Wow.
Phoenix Music Award, and a ZMR Music Award, which is a um, from DJs all over the world,
Yeah.
international. Yeah.
That's really unique. So, would you say, and my biggest question here is because you started writing these CDs and you started transitioning into that, at that time, did you know that it was meant for healing purposes, or was it just to write the music that was coming from your soul?
Um, Both. I actually knew they were activational because I was putting activational tones in there.
Okay.
Um, I'm trying to think. It seemed like, I can't remember. Just like it was all so natural.
Yeah.
Um, I was studying the chakras at the time, and I knew. See, here's another situation. I was in Egypt in 1997, and I was overnight in the Great Pyramid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very envious.
And what was cool, what happened, see, all these stories I don't tell on my website or even on the CDs. People don't even know
Yeah.
how I received the music. But I was overnight in the Great Pyramid, and another spirit came in and announced himself as Archangel Gabriel.
Wow.
Yeah. and it was him, and he was saying color, light, sound. 7 is the sacred number. 7 is the sacred number. Color, light, sound. 7 is the sacred number. He kept repeating this over and over again, and I
Really?
kept going, wow. He's talking about the chakras, and he's
Yeah.
telling, yeah, and he's telling me, the rainbow colors, the 7. He's talking about the chakras, and he's telling me there's an activational tone for each chakra.
Okay.
So that's when I went home. I was so excited about this information. This was, like I said, in 1997, where hardly anybody even knew what sound healing was.
For sure. Most people don't know about it today, I don't think.
Yeah, even today, they're just kind of, there's always like this phase coming in, like in the 2000, some people started, uh, waking up to it. And then
Yeah.
just recently, in the last 3 or 4 years, people are starting to wake up to it. And I
So
know it's been very, very challenging, explaining, it's more like an experience. You have to experience it, to feel it and get it. But so came home and started writing the chakra CD and finding the tones that would activate each chakra, and what happened was it was really here's something really magical that the whole thing was magical.
yeah.
But Archangel, so started recording, so I had my recording studio at the time, started recording the first chakra, which is the key of C. And I finished that, and then I started recording the sacral chakra, and Archangel Gabriel comes in again, and he goes, "Not yet, not time." And I said, "What? Wait a minute! I'm so excited about this. I want to do this now." He
Yeah.
literally stopped me. Long story short, he literally stopped me for 4 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
And I'm like, I didn't know why. I had no clue. I thought I was taking it personal, going, wait, what's wrong with me?
yeah.
Maybe I don't have it right. And
Wow.
check this out. What happened? 9/11 happened, right? Remember when 9/11?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. The next day after 9/11, Archangel Gabriel comes in again. He goes, okay, it's time now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I said. And
Holy.
I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, it was a timing thing
Yeah.
for Music for the Planet. It's a very healing CD." So I came out with it, 2 months later, and it became #1 in the country for a chakra healing
Really?
CD.
And where is that at? Like iTunes or on online? Where would that
It
have
was it was before iTunes was even
before
existed. It was
iTunes?
just through the stores. It was
Okay.
through the New Age stores. I have an international New Age distributor. Uh, it's called New Leaf, and they put it in the stores, and it just went
Oh,
zoom.
crazy.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
Wow. And since then, have you evolved past the second chakra, or have you still been held back on other
Oh
chakras?
no, that I wrote the whole chakra CD.
Oh, oh, okay. I see. I see.
When he said it was okay, now it's time after the day after 9/11, it was I just went, it just flowed out. The whole recording just went, because I tried before and he literally physically stopped me somehow. I
Wow.
mean, wasn't any pain or anything. It was just like I could,
Yeah.
everything just went wrong trying to record. But then when he said okay, it was just like zoom, it was done and so fast. It was flowed. Um,
That's
you know,
amazing.
yeah, it's like magic, and but he was teaching me how it is a certain timing thing,
Yeah.
um, that for the planet. So that opened my awareness for that kind of work.
Yeah.
Um, so the Mayan CD, people didn't understand what that was until probably about 3 or 4 years before 2012. Because it was called Mayan Landing 2012. And I wrote it in 2005. Yeah. So it's like a little bit early, but
Right.
no, some people got it, and then it comes in waves at certain levels of people. Some people are
Yeah.
awake, and some people, take. Takes
Well, it definitely
time.
speaks to divine timing. I mean, how many spiritual entrepreneurs do you know that receive these massive downloads and they are ready for it and they have to develop it and they have to build it, but the world isn't ready. And so it definitely speaks to your divine timing, and when it's right for you doesn't mean the world's necessarily ready for
Yeah, it's
it.
very frustrating, by the way. I'm not like
Yeah,
I'm like sometimes it's usually 5 to 7 years ahead of time, and it's not. I'm not bragging. I am very frustrated when that happens. So
I can
it's
only imagine.
yeah, it's like, oh God, you get so excited. I get so excited about the projects, and then when I put it out to the world, and it's like not time. People are not getting it. Well, what? Why?
Yeah. So that brings up a great question. So for somebody who's going through that right now and is receiving these downloads and has these amazing ideas and these amazing projects and are getting that big red flag, what do you do in those moments to keep moving forward and keep accelerating in your business while also receiving those downloads and not getting frustrated? Like how do you handle that?
Usually start working on another project, something else that's more like now,
Yeah.
or an advertising plan, or touring. Touring helps a lot with performing and touring, and uh, speaking actually about what you're doing, and really helps.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like thinking back on, okay, you make your album when they're in the rock band, then you go on tour. Well,
Right.
it's kind of the same thing in a spiritual um, road, that you develop your spiritual gifts, and then you go and I do speak at conferences or
Yeah.
forum at conferences, the New Age conferences, or enlightenment conferences, and that's what I've been doing too. So I was doing 30, 40 shows a year. It's
Wow.
a lot. Yeah, you got to really, how else? There's no New Age or spiritual channel to really get the message out there. So that's what
Yeah,
that's what I kind of had to do. So
I love that. So just so I make sure I understand what you're saying, you developed this music, and then you spent the next 4 years teaching about it through conferences and teaching through the process. And then when it was time to actually bring the music to life and apply it to the world, all of a sudden now you had this entire base of people that had already heard about you or heard from you about it, and the world was more prepared. Is that a fair understanding?
yeah, I mean, I'm always developing something every year.
Yeah,
So um, something new every year comes through.
gotcha.
Like, but yeah, when you're um, performing and speaking at the conferences is when you get they get to hear it and experience it live. So um, because just talking about it, or them seeing it like in a store, they you don't know. You could see a lot of CDs and go, I don't know, I never heard it. Unless they're playing it in the stores, which if they do, I tell them play the music in the stores and it will sell, and it does.
Yeah,
It's like everybody goes, well, what's this? I like this. How
yeah.
else? Because there's no really new age stations. I mean, there is now on internet radio, but back when there wasn't.
That's really interesting to think about. So you've come up against that as a challenge too, where there's not really any outlet for spiritual based music in this essence. Obviously we could talk about Christian music and Christian rock and all that, but
Hmm.
nothing new age and spiritual in this line that allows you to actually just tap into those existing resources. So you've kind of had to build that yourself,
Yeah.
with those
Well, there
connections.
was some new age new age stations around the world that I kind of sent it out to, and ZMR has helped in that area, which is they help you get your music out. Um, and before downloads, I was selling a lot of CDs, thousands of CDs. So, but then the downloads happen, and it's a whole different ball game. You
Right.
know?
I can imagine that would have changed the dynamic of your business
Yeah,
completely.
absolutely.
Based on right, based on that concept, you were at a point where you were seeing a lot of success before downloads. You were selling thousands of CDs.
Yes.
What would you say you owe that success to? Where were those people finding you and getting familiar with your music to be able to purchase from you?
on there was radio stations that was playing my music at certain um, new age stations, especially in the international. Um, like I was number one in Barcelona, which I've never been.
Wow.
I was for 6 months with my Egyptian CD. I had, I and a friend of mine, which is funny because I've never been there, and a friend of mine went there, and they said he mentioned my name. They said and people said, "You know ThunderBeat?" And I was like I was very famous there, and
Wow.
I didn't know it. I was like I didn't know it was that big of a deal. And but yeah, usually through that and my new age distributor really helped to get me in the stores that help sell my
Yeah,
music. Yeah.
that's really cool. Well, for somebody who is trying to bring a physical product, like in that case with a CD or something like that, to the spiritual platforms, what kind of advice would you give them?
Um, Performing live or doing your work live. Like for instance, I do a lot of activational um, workshops, but they're not really workshops. They're total activation. So like I just came out with an Ascension CD. And I know Spirit has been talking about that, or we've been hearing about Ascension for a long time.
All over the place now.
But just recently, in the last 4 months, 5 months, Spirit goes, okay, it's time for that one, and I'm like, okay, it's been because I guess it was time, you
Yeah.
know. But to bring a group together, you advertise, like let's say you advertise locally where you are, wherever you are, and you say, you can have an Ascension activation, you know, gathering, and then you charge so much at the door, and then you tell them, all your products are set up there, and then you guide them through the activation, and really helps them bring up their vibration, and then we're all happy. We're usually always like laughing and happy after, and we just have a blast, and then they just love my music, so they end up buying music. My products. I have DVDs, visual sound healing items, and books. I have 3 books out now. So,
Oh wow. What are those called?
well, my first book was a hand drumming book, and the reason I wrote that was, and it comes with a CD that guides you through the whole book. I have 39 to almost 40 different rhythms on the book. And
Wow.
the reason I wrote it was I was going to drum circles and they were playing the same thing over and over and over again. And I said, well, we've got to change this up here.
Yeah.
This is for a drummer, for me, it was getting pretty boring. Okay. So, and the people go, well, what other rhythms are there? So that's what gave me the idea to write the book,
Wow.
because it was kind of needed, for drum circles. And I got drum circle section in it and everything. And it's called hand drumming rhythms from around the world. So that was, yeah, because there's so many, like it's Caribbean, Middle Eastern, Egyptian, tribal, Native American, cool stuff.
So different too. All of them have such different textures and rhythms that I'm
Ex-
sure that's a really cool
exactly, yeah. And then I wrote a chakra book, and I did a whole chakra series. After that chakra CD, I did a chakra poster explaining, very simple and really pretty. I was an artist before I was a musician, actually,
Wow.
in school, and I had a scholarship to go to art school or art college or whatever, and I turned it down to become a musician and went to music school instead. But how that came in handy was I can design all my CD covers now, so it was great. But this chakra book, it was another magical thing happened with that, because I've not really considered myself an author at all, but I knew a lot about chakras and how intense it is. Each chakra, the knowledge, people don't even know. There's so much involved. Um, so I wrote I had the CD, and then I had the poster, and then I wrote a DVD, or designed a DVD visual sound healing, because a friend of mine that was she was she's like a practitioner nurse, and she was healing some teenagers with drug addictions.
Oh, wow.
And I told her about the chakra. I go, play the chakra CD in there. It will help raise their vibration, get rid of, the dark, gloomy, withdrawal things they're going through. And
Yeah.
and and I wrote the meditation out for her, to visualize the colors of the chakras while they're going through the chakras. And she said she did that, and there's not one. There was like 25 or almost 30 people in the group. She said not one person could see a color. I said, what? She said they're so blocked from the drugs, from doing drugs, that they can't see any colors. I tell them, okay, now visualize the color red. They couldn't visualize red,
Really?
visualize blue. They had to look at something to get the color.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's horrible.
that's how blocked they were. So she suggested to me, she goes, what about a DVD? And I said, that's a great idea. And I knew exactly what to do immediately. As soon as she triggered that for me, and I wrote it, and then when I gave her a copy immediately as soon as it was done, and she played it for the class, and it helped tremendously.
I believe it.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I was like, yay.
Right?
So that's awesome. This is like a learning process, because you don't know, this is all new. This is really ancient knowledge, but it's all new to us now
For
on
sure.
planet Earth. I mean, really. So I call it visual sound healing.
That's amazing. I love what you just said, because you've taken an old art and really turned it into your own creative outlet, and
Yeah.
that speaks to who you're helping today, which is a very unique skill. I love that.
Yay. Thank you.
Absolutely. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
It's
So,
been a journey, that's for sure.
right? And that's something to talk about, because you've gone through these transitions. So what do you do today to get your voice out there and to attract new people that have heard of this kind of healing before? How are you branching out and finding new soulmate clients?
Um, hmm. That's a good question. I'm speaking at conferences still, and that's helping a lot. Um, hmm. Just doing the um kind of like the activations,
Yeah.
putting it out there locally is really helping it. It's a word of mouth kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
do and doing long distance healings, which I can do, helps a lot so kind of advertising that way through my email list of people who I always keep my um the emails that people who they buy my products. So I have over 50,000 people on my list, so I email them new products or new knowledge or something, and
Yeah,
they kind of word of mouth. It's kind of word of mouth is how you get it out there.
for sure. No, that's brilliant. So you've seen a lot of success with an email list, and making sure that you're utilizing that, because
Yeah.
obviously if I'm buying your music, I care. So if you come out with something new, it makes sense that they would want to purchase from you again.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
absolutely. Yeah.
For somebody who is, because obviously our focus is, because you are a professional and you've done an amazing job of creating this fifth dimension calling as an actual career in this world, and that's not always the easiest thing to do. So as you were on this path, and you've been going through and developing yourself into the Devara that we know today, which is an incredible spiritual being. What kind of bad advice did you receive that you would say, I wish I would have never heard that? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Hmm. Not really.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I can't think of anything like um well, actually, I have to really think about it. Like, there is like some book shows, and if you just want to set your book out there, and some of these places charge thousands of dollars just to present your one book with hundreds of other books. I never get noticed that way. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of money. Yeah. To me, yeah.
So anybody who maybe has a book or music or anything in this space, not the direction to go.
I would not recommend that way. You have to be there live and you have to speak about it because no one's representing you when you give your book to a person representing hundreds of books. It's very rare that they even have time to speak
Yeah,
about, your book. Um,
I could see that. That makes
or, and the CDs, they're not going to be playing CDs for you. You have to, there's performance. Live performance is the best key, you know.
that. I love that. Well, is there anything else that if you were talking to you 20 plus years ago when you were just getting started and in this transition into a spiritual practitioner, is there anything that you know today that you would have told yourself back then that would have maybe helped you execute this stuff more quickly? Or I know spirit had a lot to do with your timing, so I keep
Mm.
that in mind. I understand that, but just any advice you would give the beginning stage ThunderBeat.
Um, it's a long process. That's what I'm going to just tell you. I don't know anything that speeds it up except
Right.
for performing. Performing live is people are going to hear your stuff and buy it. If you're a musician, if you have a book, it's speaking, a book signing. uh, Being able to speak at your book signings is the key because there's a lot of times Barnes and Nobles, like for example, they're great, but you have to do all your advertising.
Yeah.
But the point is, you have make sure you have time to speak and announce that in your advertising that you'll be talking about, your book or uh, within a certain time. Because a lot of times people just have a book signing and they don't even speak.
Yeah.
So speaking is very important.
Gotcha.
Even for 30 minutes, that's
After that.
perfect. I mean, that's huge difference. You'll sell triple books compared to what, let's say you'll sell 30 books instead of 10 books. I'm just saying within that hour.
Yeah. No, I believe that. That makes 100% sense. So
Yeah.
it sounds like consistency is important. Would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Getting out
Yeah.
there and getting your voice out there.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
makes perfect sense. Well, let me check and see if I have any other good questions for you. I know we kind of talked about this a little bit, but when you feel overwhelmed or unfocused, do you have any special way of getting back on track or anything like that? Because I know there's a lot of variables when you're trying to combine advertising and marketing and the
A
business
lot of
side
work.
of a spiritual practice, right? And so what do you do when you get overwhelmed with those things, and how do you push through them successfully?
You take a break.
I like it.
You take a break, you get some rest, you don't even think about any of that because it's I have to separate myself from both those worlds. Um, okay, let's say for example, how to create when you're creative is nothing to do. It's like a left brain, right brain kind of thing. So you're
Right.
creating, and that's all you should be focused on is your creation when you're creating a product or a CD or a book or whatever. Don't worry about advertising because it will distract you from your creativity.
Hmm.
And then, so once you're done with that, then you can work on your marketing and your books and your booking your tours, which I've done that too. And but if you're overwhelmed, take a break.
Yeah.
Just take a vacation.
Right.
Really, get away. Don't even think about anything. It's really you need to rejuvenate and because it's a lot of work. People don't realize it's a lot of work and especially the marketing part. And unless you have a lot of money, you know, you have a marketing or publicist,
Yeah.
they cost a fortune. They really do. Thousands of dollars a week. A week.
Right.
I'm serious. It's like, wait a minute, why? Why is it so expensive? But
Right. So
but
definitely as you get started,
yeah.
do you
But
actually separate out your time? Like I'm dedicating this many hours to marketing, I'm dedicating this many hours to creation, I'm dedicating this many hours to myself. Is that kind of
Yes,
that?
absolutely. I have to separate it all. Yeah, because it's hard to do your create because when I'm creating, especially like healing music and spirit, you're connecting with spirit, and I'm a whole different realm when I'm creating. So like you're in a whole different world,
Yeah,
and I'm actually like downloading, sounds and music and words and information and that's creative. That's being connected with source, I call it.
right?
So you have to separate yourself. It's like you can't be doing that, answering the phone and then come back. You have to get grounded when you're doing all that advertising stuff. Really have to be grounded to the earth. That's another thing. Is I know a lot of artists that it's hard for them to do the advertising because they don't want to be grounded. They love to be in the beautiful creative, which is great. The creative realm is the
Yeah,
best word. So, but I think it has a lot to do with my Libra. I'm a Libra, which I can balance, very
yeah,
well. That helps a lot because a lot of people ask me how I do this, and they said, "How do you get so much done?" It's like
right.
you do have to separate it, and like I give myself okay, like December, January, and February. I give those 3 months for creative new products or projects. Um, because that's usually my slowest time. I don't do any touring. I don't do very much marketing at that time, except a little bit for Christmas, and that's it. And so it's kind of like the months, certain months, January and February are the slowest months. So that's my where I go, okay, whatever I want to do creative. But I'm always creating during the year too. But I'm saying my major big projects are always January, February. And then March, boom, you start your marketing plan, or you start your marketing.
I love that. So you're very strategic, even though you're open to any, obviously, because sometimes you just get creative when you get creative, but
Can't help it. Yeah.
but you're strategic in how you plan out even your year. So that's brilliant. Brilliant advice. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Let me see. I sent a couple of questions. This is always a fun one. In the last 5 years, what new belief or behavior or habit do you have that has most improved your life? Is there anything that's changed for you in the last 5 years that has really improved your quality of life as a spiritual practitioner?
Turning organic.
What does that mean to you?
Turning food. I
Oh,
mean, really, I would be, really clean food really has helped.
yeah,
Pure organic, no GMO. Um, Not even like, I used to go, oh, I'll go and get some healthy vegetables or fruit, even though they're not organic. No, it doesn't work. I mean,
yeah,
you think you're eating healthy, but all the poison on there from the pesticides. I mean, Roundup. There's a $300 million case right now that they're suing Roundup,
wow,
which is which is the pesticide that they put on all foods,
right?
and they're killing people and giving cancer.
Jeez.
So in the last 3 to 4 years, I have gone totally organic, and I
I
feel much more energized and clearer minded.
Yeah, that's funny. I personally there we switched to more vegetarians,
Mhm.
and I noticed a very similar experience with my clarity in my own head. So that's interesting to me that you brought that up. That makes a lot of sense.
It's great. It's great stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're eating organic, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Because I'm telling you,
Let me tell you if I wasn't at this point.
here's a secret that a lot of people don't know is a friend of mine, actually, he's a man I met. He was in the Vietnam War. He's an elderly man, and he said that Roundup was Agent Orange.
What?
Yes, that they used Agent Orange in the Vietnam War to kill,
Yeah.
the enemy, and they got all poisoned. The army the soldiers got poisoned with Agent Orange, and he said that was Roundup.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. So I actually had an uncle pass away from cancer due to Agent Orange and from that war. And so that's a crazy, I had no idea that that's actually what they're putting in Roundup. That's,
Yeah. That Roundup is part of Agent Orange. That's
yeah,
what he said. He goes, well, the way he exactly said it was Roundup is Agent Orange.
really.
I said, really? He goes, yeah, it kills everything. It kills people, it kills plants, it kills animals, kills everything.
Wow.
Wow is right. When he told me that, it blew me away.
Seriously. Ooh,
Yeah.
makes me
And
sick.
if everybody knew that, maybe everybody would wake up and we'd all be healthier.
Right? No kidding. That's brilliant advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's fantastic. Well, what are you, where can people find you now? If like what do you have going on in the next few months, and where's the best place for people to find you to purchase your music or just to come see you, or what do you have going on in your life?
Well, thunderbeat.com, I've had that for a long time. So you can always check out my website and my healing work and my sessions, my music. And if you, of course, everybody's downloading now. So it's thunderbeatbandcamp.com. Bandcamp is the coolest, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's thunderbeat.bandcamp.com. You can sample all my music for free. And you can download, and it's very inexpensive. And that's it. Simple as that. It's not complicated.
Yeah,
And you can actually get some of my books, email books, ebooks, on my site too. And um, I have a chakra book out, and then I have the latest one is my encounters with ETs and angels.
you were
See,
talking to me about that when we first connected. That's a totally, we haven't really touched on that because
that's
that's
a
really a
whole,
huge subject that you're involved in.
yeah, that's a huge story where, like I was telling you about Archangel Gabriel. Well,
Yeah.
he's in the book, and I'm finding out more and more about Archangel Gabriel. That he's the messenger, and and everybody's kind of familiar with him. Not everybody, but most people are familiar with him because he gave the message to Mary
Yeah.
about Jesus. Okay,
Right.
that's Archangel Gabriel. Well, a lot of people don't know that he gave the message to Abraham to write the Quran, Bible. That's huge.
What?
Yes, this is history that has not been
Yeah,
talked about.
that's
This is
crazy. That's funny because you're exactly right. I have not heard that.
it's incredible information. It's like, what? When I heard that, I was like, what? Archangel Gabriel, the messenger, told, spoke through, or gave Abraham the information, and that is the Quran.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. That's really interesting. So I'm interested because I had a friend of mine that I was talking to the other day, and I'm interested to know what your input on this is because he brought up the Bible. So this is the second time that it's come up for me in a recent conversation,
Okay.
and that's not typically a conversational piece in my life.
Okay.
And he talked about it being a book of spells, and that's really all it translates to. So I'm interested to know, does that ring true to you? Does that seem, what does that trigger for you?
I'll be honest, I never read the Quran.
Yeah. Okay.
So I really don't know. I think I skimmed a couple pages online or something, and I don't remember spells.
Yeah.
What does have the kind of spelt, uh, it's not really, see, there's a lot of misconceptions. The Egyptian book, um, they say there's spells in there, but there's really just prayer,
Okay.
and they call them spells. Somebody calls them spells, but the Egyptians never called them spells. They
Right.
called them order of praise, of prayer.
I agree with you, and I think there's, because different words get mixed up, there's a lack of clarity that happens a lot of times. So I like your perspective on that.
Yeah, there's a lot of misconception, and one word can change a whole understanding of anything.
Yeah. Well, and for me personally, the word prayer means something very different than the word spell. And so
Right?
it could mean the same thing to somebody else, but for me it doesn't. So
No. Bell is almost like, oh, that's kind of scary, you know?
Right? Okay, so I'm digging your perspective.
And no prayers, a praise, a prayer of there are always or what's another word? And not initiation, oh, I can't think of it right now. It's kind of like an activation, when
Yeah,
you want something to happen, and so you put the intention out there.
like an
Yeah.
affirmation, maybe.
Acclamation, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
More
Okay.
like that. It's more
I
like that.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Now, talking about your experience with extraterrestrials and that kind of thing, does that combine with what you're doing in the music space, or
Absolutely.
how so?
Um, how so? Well, I found wow, where do I begin? Because this is the whole long story. Um, when I was 4 years old, I was playing in the driveway, broad daylight. I'm from upstate New York, Rochester. I was in the driveway, and a ship came over, and it was cloaked in a cloud, and it pulled me up. And as it was pulling me up, my mother ran out of the house and tried to catch me, and they pulled her up too.
Really?
Yeah. So
Part of your story I've
this
never
is
heard.
what's that?
That's a part of your story I've never heard. I've heard, that you were abducted, but not that your mother was abducted with you. That's an
Yeah.
interesting.
I don't call it abduction. These beings were benevolent. I was taken up and reminded actually my mission.
Really?
Yeah, they are benevolent, loving beings, and it took me many years to put it together because I was having a lot of missing time, and I've had regressions with Dolores Cannon. Um, and of the missing time, and the whole book explains everything. It's called Look Up My Encounters with ETs and Angels because there's so many stories, and I've had so many encounters, and the reason I wrote the book was because I want to talk about the beautiful loving beings, not the doom and gloom, because
Yeah.
these people were just they said that basically my star family, they're from Sirius, and Syrians use color, light, and sound to communicate and
Really?
heal and activate.
Wow.
Is
That
that
wasn't
cool?
on the nose or anything.
What's that?
That wasn't on the nose or anything.
Right.
That's amazing.
So what's amazing is I do have to say this. When I was on the ship, and I was actually, you have to read the story. You would love it. Um, where they brought me actually to the planet. They did. They actually brought me to the planet, and each room was filled with certain colors that were hovering in the room. You could walk through them, the colors, but like, okay, there's like lots of green, just like like misty,
Wow.
almost
So I was,
misty.
I was envisioning smoke.
Yeah, but it wasn't smoky.
Yeah.
It wasn't smoky. It was kind of clear. But
Yeah.
they would hover in the rooms, and every room almost was like a different color. It was amazing. It was gorgeous, and so they used color, light, and they were telling me that color is knowledge and has a frequency of knowledge of information.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting concept that
Hmm.
color is the same frequency. That's something that's come up in conversation quite a bit lately is
And
different.
they were saying sound, a color is sound, just in a higher frequency.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Wow. Yes, very, very. And that's so and you talk about that in the book too.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And okay, and where can we find the book?
ThunderBeat.com or Amazon. Amazon has it. I have 5-star reviews on Amazon. It's
I
awesome.
bet you do.
Yeah, people love the book, and I got great reviews. I just thank you for to everybody out there.
Yeah.
Um, but ThunderBeat.com, you can get. I have 3 choices on my website. You can ebook, um, or the hard copy, or a audiobook. And the audiobook has 10 songs in the audiobook that I put in there.
What? So
So
you got
you have like an album, and you've got a book, and yeah, cool stuff.
I love it, right? That's the kind of offer I'm looking for. Get all the good things. I love that. So you've gone ahead and you've actually created different versions of the same information to
Right.
be able to provide it on different
with
platforms.
the journey, and it's all a journey. And
Yeah.
it was funny because the audiobooks, the rules for audiobooks, they said no music. And I said, really? Oh, well, I'll do my own. I mean, I'm going to break some rules here. That's what I've always done anyway. So let's expand, expand the consciousness right now. Music and sound and books together is one.
Awesome. It makes total sense to me.
I
So
know, and it's fun too.
on your website, they can find the audiobook with an additional 10 songs of your healing music.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about for your particular marketing or your what you have going on? Is there anything I can help you with? As like
Well, I'm excited now. I do every my third year coming up. I do a conference in Sedona. 'Cause everybody wants to come to Sedona. Sedona is just one of
yes.
those most magical places in the world. I do a conference called Cosmic Awakening. I'm the producer, and I have two other um, co-founders with me, and we have bring in some incredible knowledge and information, and it's the next level of frequencies, and because we do a lot of meditations and sound healing,
Yeah.
and speak about the higher consciousness awareness. And we got David Wilcox coming. Are you familiar with David?
I've heard of him. I don't know his work that well, but I've heard of him.
Yeah, this year we got David Wilcox, and we got Andrew Collins, which is another researcher. He's gone to sacred sites all over the world. He's from England. He's coming in.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, he's amazing knowledge about, the real truth about, let's say, Egypt, and talking, he can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
And we got Zuni Elder, Clifford Mahudi, and it's just so much fun. It's a whole days of just bliss.
That's amazing. And so that's actually how I heard of you was you were featured on a promotion for that event last year. And so I've followed you since then.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
see, and that's my passion is to gather people and just bring in the beautiful higher consciousness, and everyone just we're all just happy,
Right?
and everyone's looking for their star family or their spiritual family, and we all just we just have so much fun. So
Yeah. And what kind of people typically come to these events? Because you have speakers that come across from all over the world to teach
mhm.
these things. Do people who would typically come to the event?
Everybody from all over the world comes.
Really?
Everyone.
I love that. So there's no specific requirement. Just if it speaks to you, you can come. I love that.
Yeah.
Where would people find more information on that?
Sedona, cosmicawakening.com.
Okay,
So
perfect.
yeah, you can see everybody's talk and workshops, and we got I got even tours happening of Sedona in there. So fun stuff. It's all fun.
And everybody that I've ever talked to that has been to Sedona or speaks of Sedona talks about it being either a vortex or just hugely open energetically. There's a lot of good things coming out of that place.
Yeah, that's a total there's hundreds of vortexes here, which is portals to other worlds, and portals to inner Earth. Um, I mean, that's a whole nother subject. You can go on and on about hours about. And I have found Egypt in Sedona too. Ancient
Really?
Egypt. I have over I don't even know 50 pictures of sphinxes,
Yeah.
the ancient gods and goddesses of Isis and Osiris, and I can go. That's a whole nother. That's my new passion. That's one of my newest, latest discoveries. Actually, it's an 18-year project.
Yeah.
Finally, I'm coming out with it. So
That's awesome. I'm sure that's going to be amazing. I'm excited for that. Egypt has always been a huge interest of mine. I've had
yeah,
it since I can remember. So I'm excited for
yeah. I've been there many times, and I noticed it in the rocks. Going, wait a minute. There's sphinxes. There, I have found over 8 or 9 sphinxes here in Sedona.
that. Really?
I mean, if I could show you a picture, I don't have. Oh, wait, hold on.
Oh my heck. It totally is.
Is that amazing?
What?
All right. This is not made up. I
Yeah,
promise. Is that a trip?
that is
You
pretty
see that?
crazy.
Yeah. Let's see. I know there's a little glare on it, but see this face? Yeah,
Yeah,
the
but
whole
you can
Sphinx.
totally see it.
Yeah, I got some incredible pictures and people. Yep.
Yeah. Did you take
So
that photo?
I did.
That's really cool.
I did. I did. I did.
Awesome. Well, seriously, I can't thank you enough for spending the time with me. This has been hugely insightful, and just the opportunity to get to know you a little bit is unique in itself. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. And I hope you see you at the conference. It's so much fun.
I hope you guys enjoyed that interview as much as I did. I thought Devara was an absolute blast to sit down with. So don't forget to visit thunderbeat.bandcamp.com and check out Devara's free chakra balancing music there. I've listened to that thing probably 100 times by now and have even incorporated it into my daily routine just because of how much value I've gotten out of it. So definitely check that out. And if you're interested in getting new insights and advice from other successful spiritual business owners, stay tuned for new episodes every Friday or visit 5dmarketingsecrets.com/blog and sign up for 5D Friday, a weekly dose of personal and professional advice from real life spiritual practitioners, just like Devara, who have successfully turned their fifth dimension calling into a powerful and profitable career. Thank you for tuning in to 5D Marketing Secrets Radio. Please remember to subscribe and leave feedback. And if you'd like me to teach you 7 of the most powerful marketing strategies for spiritual business owners in 2019 free, then just go to 5dmarketingsecrets.com and simply download the full report. See you next time.